शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः। गोष्पदीकृतवाराशिं अशकीकृतराक्षसं रामायणमहामालारत्नं वन्दे निलात्मजम्। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलम्। वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं को न याति पराङ्गतिम्। वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसादासीत् साक्षाद् रामायणात्मना। Our salutations to the divine persons Rama and Sita, personifying Dharma. Our salutations to the mighty warrior Hanuman and to the great sage Valmiki, who has given us the nectar of Ramayana. May the sacred words of Valmiki resonate in our minds and hearts and bring wisdom, peace and happiness. Dear friends, we completed the episode of Ahalya. In the last talk, we saw two episodes. That is, one is Ksheerasagara Mathanam, that is the churning of the milk ocean, and which is nothing but the mind. The Devas and Danavas, as I said, our own, the good faculties in the mind and bad faculties in the mind are called Devas and Danavas respectively. And we saw that episode. And the next episode we saw was that of Ahalya. Ahalya, how she was released from her curse. So how even very big people can be tempted, say that also that we saw in the personality of, say, Ahalya. Now we will see another important episode, because as we see in this Balakanda, several aspects relating to dharma are being established by Valmiki very firmly. So that is the reason why he has introduced several episodes. Once we cross this, and when we go to Ayodhya Kanda, we will not get, occasionally you may get some story, but you will not get such passages regularly. So now, all the while we have been listening to Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra has been telling so many stories about so many places and people. But now, the story of Vishwamitra will be told by another sage. So that we are going to see. So when we left last, we saw this entourage of Vishwamitra, say crossing that say river, and then of course Ahalya also, they in fact they reached the outskirts, almost reached the outskirts of Mithila. And then after that, after Ahalya's Shapa Vimochana was over, then they proceeded further and then reached that Yajna Vatika is that sacrificial ground which was prepared by Janaka. We know that Janaka was organizing a very huge yajna in which thousands and thousands of say Vedic scholars were present, and a lot of great arrangements were made. So these people have reached that particular place, and Rama sees that place and then he admires the vastness of the place, and then so many thousands of people who are inhabiting so many places and well read in the Vedas, he is saying. And then meanwhile Janaka comes to know about the arrival of Vishwamitra, and it is the duty of a king to go and then invite him. So naturally Janaka comes along with his Purohits. He comes, and then such a great sage has come. He says, I am really honored. Shatanandam Puraskrutya Purohitam Aninditaha. So that is, Shatananda is the Purohita. Shatananda is the son of Vasishtha. We will see somewhere in the story, we will see that Shatananda is the son of Vasishtha. So Shatananda is also the Purohita. He is the Purohita of, say, King Janaka. So along with this Shatananda, he comes and then meets, say, Vishwamitra. And then, that is the protocol, as I said, because we were seeing that Rishi has got a slight moral authority over the king. Rishi doesn't exercise any sort of physical authority. But then, because he is a person who is totally detached from the world, totally nothing to do with the kingdom or nothing to do with any, no desire or anything like that. So the Rishis have got a great respect among the people. So naturally Rishi exercises a moral authority. So that is the reason why the kings used to respect the Rishis. So then there is an exchange of pleasantries, and then the sage asks, Papracha Kushalam Rajnyaha Yajnasya Niramayam Then he says, he is asking about the Kushalam, Rajnyaha Kushalam he is asking, and the Kushalam is the welfare, etc., etc. And Janaka also says, I am indeed honored by your presence. In fact, your arrival is as though I have already attained the fruit of my yajna. So that is what he says, Dhanyosmi, Anugrihitosmi, Yasya me Munipungava, Adya Yajnaphalam Praptam Bhavat Darshana, Bhavat Darshananmaya, Bhagavad Darshananmaya, by your very darshana, by your very sight, by your very presence, it is as though my yajna is already fulfilled. So that is what he says. And then he says, for about 12 days I am planning a sacrifice, and then you please stay till that time. Say that all through that, you stay. And then incidentally, he also sees Rama and Lakshmana. And then sees, who are these? Who are these handsome youth? As though they have descended from heaven. They look so bright, so handsome, and then so well armed and so well built and well armed. So they look as though they are the gods who have descended from heaven. Who are they? Then he says, Vishwamitra, he tells the background, what all has happened. He says, Siddhashrama nivasancha rakshasanam vadhantatha. So Vishwamitra is already hinting. That is, he tells about that Siddhashramam. Siddhashramam is where he was performing yajna, where Maricha, Subahu, they were disturbing. So he told that. Then Tatra Agamana Avyagram Vishalayascha Darshanam. So when after that they came to that Vishala city, Ahalya Darshanam Shaiva, he told about the story of Ahalya. And then say how Ahalya was released from her curse by the very presence of Rama. So he told all that. And then Mahadhanushi Jignasam Kartum Agamanam Tatha. This is a hint. So he also desires to see your Mahadhanush, that great bow. So which means it is actually an indication that this man will be able to handle that bow and he will be able to marry Sita. Because Janaka's anxiety was that it was a very great bow, a mighty bow which no one even could lift. And Janaka and because Sita was able to lift it. It so happened that Sita once upon a time, it so chanced that she, while she was playing, some ball or something like that, that went under the cart on which that great bow was kept, and then she went and then she casually lifted it, and then she took out that the ball with which they were playing, the Kanduka Krida. So then Dasharatha, the King Janaka thought, we have to give this lady in marriage to somebody who is able to lift that bow. So that is what was the pratigya. So several kings came, and then several kings they tried to lift it, but then they could not. So this is an indication that Rama will be able to achieve that. Mahadhanushi Jignasam Kartum Agamanam Tatha. So he is actually hinting at it. Then okay, after that, on that day they take rest, and then the Purohita, we talked about Shatananda. This Shatananda, he is very happy. This Shatananda is not the son of Vasishtha. Shatananda is the son of Gautama. I'm very sorry. Just now he says he is very happy that his mother was released from Shapam. His mother was released from Shapam, and then he is asking all those details. How is my mother? Is she really happy now? And then has my father come back? And then has he properly respected you? And all those things he asks. Her penitence. Apite Munishardula Mama Mata Yashaswini Darshita Rajaputraya. How did my mother react? And how did my father react? Did they properly respect Rama? So all those things he asks. And then Vishwamitra says, yes, everything has been conducted, properly. And then, Na atikrantam munishreshta yat kartavyam krutam maya. Nothing has been omitted by me. I have seen to it that your mother is properly rescued. Your mother is saved from that curse. So that is what he said. And this person, Shatananda, is so happy. Shatananda is very, very happy. And then he starts praising Vishwamitra. He praises Vishwamitra saying, Achintya karma tapasa brahmarshi ramita prabhaha. So he addresses Rama and says, you are indeed very, very blessed. You are protected by a very, very mighty person. Achintya karma, a person whose greatness you can't even imagine. Achintya, that is something you can't even imagine. And then brahmarshi amita prabhaha, whose greatness, whose say prabha means whose say like we say Shakti, tapas Shakti, you can't even imagine. So that is what he says. And then you are protected by such a person, and then you are indeed blessed. You are indeed blessed that you are mentored by Vishwamitra. Then he says, okay, Shruyatam cha abhidhasyami kaushikasya mahatmanaha. I am going to tell you the greatness of Vishwamitra. And then he is going to tell a long story now. And this story continues for about 15 sargas, as I said, starting from 50th sarga. So, sorry, 51st sarga to 65, 51 to 65. In about 15 sargas, he is going to tell a very long story of Vishwamitra. And then again in the presence of Vishwamitra only. And it is something which is say interesting to see. So in this Vishwamitra story, because most of us we already know this story, we know that Vishwamitra is there. He with a great army he was going around several places. He does not particularly go to the ashram of Vasishtha. He was just going around, and then it so happened that he went to the ashram of Vasishtha. Vasishtha gives a great say dinner to them, and then that dinner was actually organized by one Kamadhenu which Vasishtha was having. And then he asks Vasishtha to give that say Dhenu. Vasishtha does not give because he says that is the only possession I have. I don't have any other thing. That is what is sustaining me. My yajna, all my say tapas etc. is happening only because of that. So he says, Vishwamitra doesn't listen. He wants to snatch away. Then again there is a sort of fight between Vasishtha and Vishwamitra. Fight means not a physical fight. So this man releases so many arms, so many weapons on Vasishtha. And then Vasishtha stands only with his Brahmadanda. Brahmadanda means just he is basically a tapasvi, basically a saint. That saintly person, they carry even one small stick with them. That small stick which they put under their say armpit. And then that is basically to do some pranayama. While doing pranayama, for changing the breath from left nostril to right nostril, etc. They keep on changing. They put on this shoulder sometime and this shoulder armpit sometime. So like that is the Brahmadanda. So he just holds his Brahmadanda, and all the astras which come, they just get neutralized. So in brief, this is the story. And then Vishwamitra again realizes that all his physical power is of no use before say Vasishtha. And then he goes and then he has to do some tapas in order to acquire this particular power which he has. So for that, how he tries and all that we will see, and how Valmiki portrays it over say about 15 say sargas. We will see that. And then in brief, okay, I can tell you in advance that this is something an episode which say portrays the victory of Sattva-guna over Rajoguna. So we have seen in this Deva-Danava Yuddham, that is Ksheerasagara Mathanam, where gods and demons were, say, they had a fight. So what did we see? Danavas means demons. Demons, they represent the Tamoguna. And Devas represent the Rajoguna. Of course, they do have some Sattva-guna, but then Rajoguna is predominant. Because if Sattva-guna is predominant, they would not be Devas. They would become Brahmarshis, they would become Brahmagyanis. And in fact, Devas, they are still, the Deva Bhumi is still what is called a Bhoga Bhumi. Devaloka is still a Bhoga Bhumi. That is still they are enjoying the pleasures of their punya, good deeds, etc. They are dharmika people, etc. That is good. So initially, to start with, we have to subdue our Tamoguna by Rajoguna. So that is what was shown in the Ksheerasagara Mathanam. Now what we are going to see is, we should not stop with that Rajoguna only. We have to go beyond that Rajoguna, and then Sattva-guna has to be achieved by a spiritual seeker. So here Vishwamitra, what is he trying to do? Vishwamitra, when he is trying to compete with Vasishtha, Vasishtha is a Brahmagyani. And then if Vishwamitra also wants to become a Brahmagyani, it is not a competition. There is no competition among Brahmagyanis. Because Brahmagyani is somebody who does not see an enemy. So this is not a competition. So this person has to go beyond Kama, Krodha and various other weaknesses of the mind. And then only when he achieves mastery over his self, only then he will be recognized as a Brahmagyani, not Brahmagyani, as somebody who is Shantaha, Dantaha. So that is. So that is the stage. Only then he can be called Brahmarshi. Till that time, all the knowledge is only at a lower level only. He may be a well-read man, he may be a great scholar, you might have done Shravana, Manana, etc., etc. But so long as the internal self-purification is not achieved, till then you are not you are not a real Brahmagyani. So that internal purification is what matters there. So that is the problem here. That is the thing which we have to see. So the lesson which we have to see here is that it is not something, a fight between Kshatriya on one side and Brahmana on another side, because this can be misinterpreted as a fight between Kshatriyas and Brahmanas and the supremacy of Brahmins, etc., over Kshatriyas, etc. It can be misinterpreted. It is not like that. It is not as though the Brahmins wanted to establish their supremacy over Kshatriyas. It is not like that. It is basically a question of, this is a formula which we see throughout in our Vedic works. That is, Tamoguna initially has to be controlled by Rajoguna, and Rajoguna has to be vanquished by Sattvaguna. So that is a general formula which we see. And then even if we look at a social level, even at that time a social level also, like today democracy is there, but democracy means there are checks and balances. The President of America or the India, say President of India or Prime Minister of India, they do have some checks and balances. So whatever he does, he is not absolute, he is not the absolute power center, because whatever he does, it goes for a judicial review. Whatever President does or whatever the Prime Minister does, it goes for a judicial review. So judge is there sitting above. So when these institutions were not there, then what were the institutions in olden days? Naturally, somebody who is having a moral authority on a king, that was the need of the society. Because every society, depending on that particular, structure, a civilized society, I mean, uncivilized societies, this may not be there. A civilized society will have some power structure, will have some checks and balances. So this Brahmana should not exceed his limits, and Kshatriya also should not exceed his limits. Brahmana should not, his duty is to live a very, very contented life. He should not aspire for political power, etc. He should be somebody who will abandon anything, and then who will only concentrate on his tapas, who will only concentrate on his dharma. So that is what is the duty of a Brahmin. And in fact, if we see Mahabharatam or Bhagavatam, we see so many stories of the poor Brahmanas, somebody who is living by Unchavrutti. Unchavrutti is just going into the fields and then picking up some grain which is left over by the farmers. Farmers in olden days, they used to leave some grain in the fields, so that some birds, etc., will pick up. Or these people who live by Unchavrutti, there were such great pious people who just lived by Unchavrutti, just picking up some grains from the fields and then living by that. So these are the people who are role models for us, whether it is a Kuchela in Srimad Bhagavatam, or somebody like a Saktuprastha in Bharatam. So these are the people who are our role, they have been our role models. So we should not think that this particular story is something to do with Brahminical supremacy or anything like that. Brahmins lived in absolute, poverty. They lived in a very, very contented, even if they did not have money, they lived in great contentment. So that is the picture. And so that is the background with which we will see the story of Vishwamitra. So this Shatananda, son of sage Gautama, he is very, very happy that his mother is released from this curse, and then he starts telling the story of Vishwamitra. So he starts saying, Vishwamitro Mahateja Palayamasa Medinim. This particular gentleman, he was a great ruler. And then once it so happened that he took a huge army. Akshauhini Parivrtaha Parichakrama Medinim. He took a huge army. This is 21st shloka in this Sarga 51. So he took a huge army, and then he just went round to several places. He saw various cities, he went to various small countries, and then he saw various ashramas, he met various munis, and then once he came to the Vasishthasya Ashramapadam Nana Pushpalata Drupam. So he came to this Vasishta's ashrama where lot many rishis were there, and then lot many people who were engaged in their studies, some students and all these people. And then Satatam Sankulam Srimad Brahmakalpair Mahatmabhihi. Brahmakalpair Mahatmabhihi means all these great sages who were comparable in their say spiritual strength to the Lord Brahma himself. And then
Akshauhini means
Akshauhini is a measure of army. Akshauhini. Yeah, he was a king. Vishwamitra is originally a king. He is a Kshatriya. Yeah, we know that. Vishwamitra is not, say, originally a Brahmana. He becomes a Brahmana. This is another angle which we see. Brahmana is somebody who is also, anybody can become a Brahmana by, say, having the, say, qualities of a Brahmana, by having the gunas. We see in that Chaturvarnyam Maya Sushtam Guna Karma Vibhagasaha. Somebody who is Sattva Pradhana, completely Sattva Pradhana, he is a Brahmana. So till that Sattva Guna comes, so long as he is moving with a great army and then he is having that Rajo Guna, he is a Kshatriya. So even if a Brahmin does, he will be Kshatriya only. He is not a Brahmana. So this gentleman, he was a great king. And then he was once moving with a mighty army, that is Akshauhini. Akshauhini is only a measure of the army. That is a few 100,000 people and different varieties. That is Ratha, Gaja, Turaga, Padati. That is a few chariots, a few horses, a few elephants, and then a few, several, say, foot soldiers, all these things. Horsemen, Ratha, Gaja, Turaga. Turaga is horse. Say several horsemen and then several soldiers. All these people will be there in that Akshauhini. Basically a unit of army, something like a regiment, huge regiment. So then Vasishtasya ashrama padam brahmalokamivaparam dadarshya jayatam shrestho vishwamitro mahabalaha. So this is an indication. This word brahmaloka is a key word, you see. This Vasishta's ashrama is looking like a brahmaloka. That is, all the people who are all great brahmagyanis, all the people who have done great tapas, and then people who are we know that in Vedanta, what is called Brahmaloka is only after attaining a lot of spiritual discipline. A person who has attained a lot of spiritual discipline and then who does that upasana, karma and upasana, that is the highest thing which is achieved is that Brahmaloka. And of course, even if Vasishta is a Brahmagyani, he is also continuing to do various rituals because he is also a family man. A family man can also be a Brahmagyani. If a family man is a Brahmagyani, he should not abandon all the karmas. It is only when he becomes a sannyasi he can abandon the karmas. So long as he is a grihastha, he has to continue the karmas. So that is the reason why Vasishta and other rishis, though they were all married people, though they were all jnanis, they were also performing various rituals. That is basically for say continuance of dharma, because they have to teach their children, they have to teach their students, they have to teach, they have to be role models for others in the society. So a jnani doesn't mean that simply because a person is a jnani, he can give up all karmas and then just sit idle. It is not like that. So jnanis, for the welfare of society, for loka sangraha, as Gita says, for loka sangraha, they do karma. So that is what we see in this ashrama. And then we now come to Sarga, say 52nd Sarga. Then they finally come to the ashrama of, they come to the ashrama of Vasishta. And then we, in this particular Sarga, we see great friendship between Vasishta and Vishwamitra. So he sees, let us see what Valmiki says. Tam društva paramaprito Vishwamitro mahabalaha prapto pranato vinayad viro Vasishtam japatam varam. So he pays due respects. Pranataha. Pranataha means he bends his head and then prakarshena nataha, that is he bends his head and then he pays respects to Vasishta. Vasishta also he tells swagatam tavacha ityuktaha Vasishtena mahatmana. He says swagatam and then they ask each other their welfare. And then you see the protocol also here. The king asks about tapognihotra shishyeshu kushalam paryapruchhata. That is, if you are asking a Brahmin, you have to ask about his studies and tapas. So Vipram Adhyayanam Pruchet, there is a saying, that is, when you are asking a Brahmin, you have to ask him, are you studying well? Are you keeping your dharma? Are you following your dharma properly? So that is what one should ask a Brahmin. So that is what the king is asking. He is asking about his tapas, he is asking about his Agnihotra, is your Agnihotra going on normally? And all your Shishyas, are they studying properly? And then your Vanaspati Ganam. Vanaspati Ganam is for performance of Yajnas. they have put so many plants and trees. Are they all safe? Are they all very, properly there? Is there any problem? So this Kushalam Paryapruchata, he asked about, the well-being of all these things. Then similarly, this man also asks, as I said, Vipram Adhyayanam Pruchet Rajanam Rashtrapalanam. When you are asking a king, you should ask about his, ruling, how he is ruling. Is he ruling in a dharmika manner? Are there any problems in the kingdom? And then are your enemies properly under control? So like that. Is your treasury okay? So all these things. Kachitte Kuchalam Rajan, Kachit Dharmena Ranjayan. Are you okay? Are you Dharmena Ranjayan? That is, are you keeping the people happy by your dharmic conduct? That is what it is. Dharmena Ranjayan. Ranjayatiti Raja. That is one who keeps the people happy, makes the people happy by doing some good. And then Prajah Palayase Rajan Rajavruttena Dharmika. Oh Dharmika, oh righteous person, are you properly ruling the people? And then it goes like that. Kachit Baleshu Kosheshu Mitreshu Chaparantapa. He is asking about his Bala. Bala means his various units in the army. And then he is asking about Kosha. Kosha means treasury, etc. And then Mitreshu, are your friends okay? And are you keeping all the controls, all the enemies under control? So he asks all that. This is again I am reading out only to see the protocol in those days. Then, so they exchanged notes for a long time on several issues. And then he also gave some, initially when they came, he served some fruits, etc. So such things he gave. And then ultimately, after some time, he says, I want to host a big dinner for you, a very good lunch for you. Then Vishwamitra thinks, he has come with a great army. And this man is having an ashram. Of course, there are several rishis and all these people. All these rishis, what do they have? They will have some dry fruits and then some fruits in their houses. What else do they have? So he thought, okay, we have eaten some fruits which have been given by this sage. It is okay. He is okay for the sake of formality. He is saying, okay, I will give a dinner, etc. But I should not trouble him. So that is what Vishwamitra thinks. So by your kind words, it is as though you have already given a dinner to me. Krutamitya Bravid Raja Puja Vakyano Me Tvaya. That is because you have honored me so well. You have treated me so well. That is good enough. That is as good as giving a dinner. But then, Phalamulena Bhagavan Vidyate Yettavashrame. You have given whatever fruits are available, and then Mula. Mula means some other roots which are available, you have given. That's good enough. Then he says, no, it's not like that. I will give. Vasishtha, he says, no, I want to give. I want to give a dinner. Then he doesn't understand. Vishwamitra, he says, okay, let give a dinner, let us see. Then he invites that, Kamadhenu. Vasishtha has got a Kamadhenu, that is a cow, a sacred cow, which he is having with him. And then he asks that cow, you see, there are so many people who have come. Yasya yatha kamam shadraseshvabhipujitam. You just check up whatever anybody wants. Anybody wants, you produce all that and then give. Then, okay, now you see the human nature. The next sarga. Eva mukta vasishtena shabala shatrusudana vidadhe kamadhuk kaman yasya ipsitam yatha. So then all this army, you see, you give a free hand, they will ask for that. Okay, I want this chicken biryani, I want some other biryani, I want this, that, etc. I want some French wine. All those things you find here. So you find the description. Ikshun madhuns tatha lajan maireyanscha varasavan. You see, some like this ordinary, this ikshurasa, that is sugarcane juice, etc. for some people like us. And then some other people ask for maireyanscha. Maireyam is a particular wine from a particular country called Mira. Govindaraja writes Mira Deshiyaha, Maireyaha. That is some wine from a particular thing. Like you will ask for, we have heard about some French wine or some such, some German beer or something like that. You ask for that. So they have asked for all that. Vara Asavan, some finest liquors. Vara means fine. Vara Asava, fine liquors, etc. So these people asked, Pananicha Maharhani Bhakshanscha Uchavachanapi. So when somebody is hosting you and then a free check, it is given to you, then you will ask for all great things. So that is what has happened. And then Ushnadhyasya Udanasyatra, very hot meals. Rashayah Parvatopama, huge heaps were there. Bhakshya, Bhojya, Choshya, Lehya, etc. All types of foods. Bhakshya is something which you bite and eat. Bhakshya is biting. Bhojya, just to eat. Choshya is chewing. Lehya is liha. Liha means to lick. These are again cognate words. Choshya is chewing and lehya is licking. So all types of foods, something which can be sucked and then which can be licked and all types of things produced. This, this cow produced. And then Vishwamitra, he was stunned and then they were all surprised. Vishwamitro hi rajarshihi hrushta pushtas tada bhavatu. Hrushta pushtaha tada bhavatu. So then a person who is so hrushta, he becomes also rather greedy. A person who becomes very, very hrushta, he also becomes drupta. And drupto dharmavati kramati, we know. A person who becomes a drupta, he tries to violate dharma. So that is what happens. Then he says, "Oh my dear sir, it is good that you have given a wonderful lunch for me, but then you don't need this cow. You please give that cow to me. Gavam shatasahasrena. I will give 100,000 cows. You please give this cow to me. Ratram hi bhagavan etat ratnahari cha parthivaha." He makes a nice statement. This is actually a jewel. And a jewel should not be with a Brahmin. A jewel should be with a king. So that is what he says. Ratnahari cha parthivaha. Parthiva is a king. So any jewel, any gem of a thing, an ordinary Brahmin should not have a gem of a thing, should be with me. So that is what he says. Then Vasishtha explains, "No, my dear sir, this is Shabala. The Shabala is the name of that cow, a Kamadhenu. This is a very sacred cow. This is the only thing I have. You see, just as you cannot take away, the fame of a person, the kirtihi atmavato yatha. For a self-respecting person, his self-respect is the identity. So this Shabala is my identity. Shabala is my identity, just as for a self-respecting person, his self-respect is his identity." So that is the comparison, that is the simile given by Valmiki. Shashwati Shabala mahyam kirtihi atmavato yatha. And then asyam havyam cha kavyam cha pranayatra tathaiva cha. Whatever of oblations I am giving, havyam is something which is offered to gods. Kavyam is something which is offered to Pitru Devatas. That is, doing Shraddha Karma, what we offer is called kavyam. During ordinary yajna, what we offer is called havyam. And then Swahakara, Vashatkara, all these things, all these rituals, all the things, this is responsible. And what all I need for yajna, for example, I need various other equipment for yajna. All these things, this cow only is giving. This is actually my lifeline, he says. Asyam havyancha kavyancha pranayatra tathaivacha. This is my lifeline. This is my livelihood. And then Vishwamitra hikes up. I will give you 100 golden chariots. Hiranyanam rathanancha. That is Hiranya Ratham. That is golden chariots I will give to you. And then I will give some more white horses I will give to you. And then I will also give, horses of noble breed. So, but then I will give 1 crore cows. 1 crore means 100, 100,000 into 100. That is what? Yeah, 10,000 into, 10,000. So that so many cows I will give to you, but you have to give this cow. Then Vasishtha says, no, all my yajna activity will come to an end, because I can't go on managing all those hundreds of thousands of cows. This is simply giving what all I need for yajna, what all I need for all my Darsha Purnamasa yajnas, all that is dependent on this cow. I cannot give this. Then, there the bargain ends, and then Vishwamitra forcibly tries to take it away. Vishwamitra forcibly drags it away. That is what we see in Sarga 54. Then Kamadhenum Vasishtopi yadanat yajyate munihi tadasya shabalam rama Vishwamitro anvakarshata. Vishwamitra, he pulled it. He just dragged it. And then he said, he first dragged it, and then he just gave it to he also told his followers, yes, drag it, come on, let us take it away. Then this Shabala, this cow, that cow starts thinking, why is my master giving me away? What fault have I done? That is what he says. Kim maya apakrutam tasya maharsher bhavitatmanaha this great sage, I have been with this great sage, and I have been with him with all these yajnas and all these say rituals. Why is he giving? Have I done anything wrong? And then it wants to check up. It wants to check up with the sage himself. So when all these soldiers are actually holding it, it actually shakes off all these soldiers and then runs to sage, and then cries before him. Vegena tada vasishta jagama vegena tada vasishtam paramaujasam. And then it says, Rudanticha, Kroshanticha. It is crying. The cow is crying. And then idam abravit. And then he says, Why did you abandon me? Because Shabala, this cow, its divine powers are not to fulfill the, whimsical needs of all these army people and then all these people. Apparently, it appears as though Vishwamitra is asking for a right thing. Apparently, people may feel, yes, Vishwamitra, he can feed his people and whatnot. That is not the way to feed people. You see, some sacred cow is there and the cow is giving everything. That is not the way to feed. People have to follow dharma. People have to produce, wealth. And then that is how the dharma has to carry on. And then somebody who is staying in a forest without any support, without anything, such persons, they need this thing. So, this is not, and if such a cow goes to them, every day they will be asking for some finest wines and liquors and whatnot. So, the divine powers of this Shabala should not be wasted on such whimsical desires. So, that is the reason why, this cow goes to him, because the powers have to be used only to fulfill the disciplined needs, or rather the needs of disciplined people like the rishis. So that is the basic point here. Then the cow goes to Vishwamitra, Vasishta, Bhagavan kim parityakta tvayaham brahmanasuta. Oh my dear brahmanasuta, oh you are the very son of Brahma. And then have I been abandoned by you? And for what? What did I do? Then Vasishta says, no, I have not left you. The king is forcibly dragging you. I don't want to resist because the king is stronger. In the sense that I don't want to use my tapashakti. Of course, Vasishta can use his tapashakti and stop. I do not want to use my tapashakti. Physical shakti I don't have. The king is dragging you away. So that is what he says. Then Shabala says, no, it is not like that. Your Brahma Shakti is much, much higher. You just keep quiet, you tell me. I will produce, armies. I will produce armies and then I will see that he is vanquished. Then Vasishta says, okay. Vasishta, he also needs that cow. So he says, okay. Brahmabalam divyam shatracha balavattaram. Your Shatra, compared to this Kshatriya balam, this Brahmana balam is very superior. Brahmana balam is, we should not think about Brahmins and Kshatriyas. We should only think about Sattva Guna and Rajoguna. So this is a battle between Sattva Guna and Rajoguna. It's again totally a symbolic story. Then Vasishta says, okay, then Srujasva. Srujasva means you create the forces which will be able to vanquish the enemy. Then again, this is an interesting passage. We do not know how to understand this passage because it is talking about various races. Races means, various people who have come to India at various points of time. Shakas, Yavanas, Pahlavas, etc. So it says, Tasya tad vachanam shrutva surabhissa srujat tada. It talks about Pahlavaha, Shatashon Rupa, Pahlavaha. Pahlavi is one dynasty. Ironically, the Pahlavi dynasty was actually ruling Persia. So maybe Persians. It is talking about Persians. And then it is talking about Shakan, Yavana Mishritan, Shakas and Yavanas. In our history, old ancient history of India, we talk about the Shakas, Hunas, Yavanas, etc., etc. So it is talking about Shakas, Yavanas and Pahlavas, and then Kambojas, Barbarascha. So it has created so many races. And then all these people, they went and then they drove away Vishwamitra's army. And then Vishwamitra became very, very furious. He is also a person who has got lot many astras, lot many powerful astras. Then again he personally jumps into the battle, and then he drives away all these Kambojas, Barbaras, etc., etc. Then again, Drishtva nishuditam sainyam vasishtena mahatmana Vishwamitra sutanam tu shatam nanavidhavidham. So there were about 100 sons of Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was a king. He had 100 sons. All these 100 sons also go. And then they directly go to attack Vasishta. And Vasishtha simply says, hunkarena. Hunkarena iva tan sarvan nirdadaha mahan rushihi. So by a mere hunkara, they were all nirdadaha. They were all turned into ashes, it seems. So then, društva vinashitan sarvan balam cha sumaha yashaha savridam chintayamishtaha. Then Vishwamitra, then he is a changed person now, in the sense that say he feels that his army and then his power is inadequate. He wants to go to Himalayas and then he wants to do some great tapas. So he says, tagatva sagatva himavat parshve kinnaroraga sevitam mahadeva prasadartham tapastepe mahatapaha. In order to please Mahadeva, Mahadeva is Shiva. Shiva is said to be the lord of Dhanurveda. Shiva is also said to be a mighty fighter, isn't it? In Mahabharata also we see Arjuna goes to worship Shiva, and then from Shiva he gets that Pashupatastra. So similarly here this Vishwamitra goes to Himalayas, and then he seeks blessings from Lord Shiva. And after a long time, long tapas and all that, Shiva appears. And then Vishwamitra asks the entire Dhanurveda from him. Give me all astras, whatever astras are there, with all the, you see, with whether it is gods, demons, etc., whatever, Gandharva, Yaksha, Rakshasu, whatever astras are there with all these people, give all of them to me. Sangopangopanishadaha, Sarahasya Pradiyatam, Dhanurvedo Mayanaga. The entire Dhanurveda, along with Sanga, Upanga. Dhanurveda also seems to be having some small subsidiary subjects. Along with that, Sangopanga Upanishadaha. Upanishad does not mean our Upanishads. Upanishad literally means Rahasya Vidya. Some Rahasya mantras, that is some secret chantings. So maybe a particular ashram is there. Openly it is not known to all the people. Secretly from Guru to Shishya only it comes. So like that, Lord Shiva gave certain mantras, very secret mantras to this chap. So like this Vishwamitra, Sarahasya Pradiyatam, Gandharva, Yaksha, Rakshasu, what all weapons are there with Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, all those things, let them come to me. Then he says, Evamastvriti Devesho Vakyamuktva Gatastada, Evamastu, okay, let it be so. He blessed and then gave all the astras to him. Then Vishwamitra comes with great, renewed vigor, and then he says, yes, Hatam mene tadarama Vasishtam Rishisattamam. Now Vasishta's, you see, he is as good as killed. Hatam mene tadarama. Vasishta is as good as killed by this, and then he comes and then he attacks the ashrama. When he attacks the ashrama with all his weapons, then the whole ashrama got burnt. And all the rishis who were staying there, they ran helter-skelter. Vasishta alone was remaining, and the whole place became a very deserted place. And then Vasishta, in fact, he took out his Brahmadanda. Ityuktva paramakrudho dandamudyamya satvaraha vidhumaiva kalagnihi yamadandamiva param. So we are talking about that Brahmadandam. Brahmadanda is a sort of a T-shaped stick actually. Brahmadanda is actually all these sages, if you see even in movies, old movies, they show those Brahmadanda. A small T-shaped stick. On top there is a T-shape. A small, say about 2 feet long, say stick, say underneath, maybe 1.5 to 2 feet, depending on the height of a person. And then it is kept under the armpit, so that to regulate pranayama while doing tapas. So that is the Brahmadanda. And then symbolically it means his tapas shakti is there in that Brahmadanda. So he holds that Brahmadanda and stands in front of him. Okay, now you shoot all your weapons. Then Vishwamitra shoots all the weapons. So in this next Sarga 56, we see, say this Brahmadandam Samudyamya Kaladandam Ivaparam. This Brahmadanda, it basically symbolizing all the yogic and tapas powers. And then Vasishta says, today I am going to take away your pride. Nashayam yadyate darpam shastrasya tava gadhija. Oh my dear Vishwamitra, I am going to take away your pride. You are very, very proud that you are having so many astras. You will see that your pride is removed and you are humbled. So that is what he says. Then all the weapons were released, and all the weapons which we see earlier. You see, Vishwamitra gave so many weapons to Rama. You recall that passage where he gave so many weapons and we read out all those names. Manavam, Mohanam, Chaiva, Gandharvam, Swapanam, Tatha. So various types of chemical weapons I was explaining. Swapanam, that is which makes people deluded, that which makes people sleep, that which make people unconscious, that which make people cry. Various types of weapons. All those things are mentioned here. Jrumbhanam, Madanam Chaiva, Santapana, Vilapane. Even the tear gas type of things. Santapana, Vilapana. So all those things. Shoshanam, Dharanam Chaiva. Vajram, Astram, Sudurjayam. All types of weapons he flung on, which I say Vasishtha. And then Vasishtha simply stood with his Brahmadanda. And all these weapons, they were all neutralized. They just they disappeared into this Brahmadanda. So that is what happened. Then, finally, the greatest Astra was Brahmastra. The greatest Astra is directly from the creator Brahma. That Brahmastra also was released. And that Brahmastra also was neutralized in this Brahmadanda. So that means Brahmadanda is basically a representation of the Sattvic power. Brahmastra, it is only a Rajasic aspect. So this Rajasic aspect is always subservient to this Sattvic aspect. So that is the point here. So this finally Brahmastram also was neutralized. Then this man was, helpless. Then all the rishis, they plead to Vasishtha. Now this man is vanquished. This man's pride is gone. And then now you please cool down. Vasishtha then simply he cools down. And then Vishwamitra, he feels ashamed. Digbalam kshatriya balam brahmatejo balam balam ekena brahmadandena sarvastrani hatani me. He says, that is 23rd sloka in this 57th sarga. Digbalam kshatriya balam. What is this? What is the use of Dik? Dik means, in Telugu we say chi. That is to hell with this. In English, if we want to say to hell with this kshatriya strength. What is the use of this kshatriya strength? The real strength is in Brahmana. So he has not realized that it is a change in character or change in guna that is needed. He is still thinking that it is a question of power. It is not a power struggle. In fact, he has to forget about this power. It is only when he forgets about this, then he will go to that level. So that is what he will gradually realize. So he says, Dik balam kshatriya balam, brahmatejo balam balam. So this strength is not enough. And then with one Brahmadanda, ekena Brahmadandena, sarvastrani hatanime, all my weapons, all these astras, they have been swallowed or they have been neutralized by this one Brahmadanda. Then we come to the next sarga, that is 57th sarga. So after Vishwamitra realizes the limitations of all the military might, then he says, no, this military might is not what is needed. What I need is spiritual might. So he realizes. And then, even in that spiritual might, he is having that enmity in mind. You see these lines, because we have to see Valmiki's words. Because in various shlokas, there are certain key words which we should not forget. Vinishvasya, krutavairo mahatmana, krutavairaha. That element of enmity is there in his mind. And so long as there is element of enmity, a person will not be in Sattva Guna. He is still in Rajoguna only. If you recall, Sattvika tapas, Rajasa tapas and Tamasa tapas, which is told in Gita, what Vishwamitra is going to do now is Rajasa tapas. Rajasa tapas, he says, Satkara mana pujartham. That is, so that people will respect you. People are afraid of you. People will worship you. So with that intention in mind, that sloka, Satkara mana pujartham, I have noted here, Tapo dambhena shaivayat. Dambhena, with all pride and whatnot. Kriyate tadiha proktam rajasam chalam adhruvam, he says. So Vishwamitra, the tapas which is being done by Vishwamitra is an illustration of this Rajasa tapas. That is what we will see here. Then, of course, he follows various disciplines. Phalamulashano dantaha chakara paramam tapaha. He is just eating phalamulashana, eating fruits and then which are roots which are there in the forest. He is doing it. And then, for a long, long time, Purne Varshasahasretu, Brahma Lokapitamaha. After 1,000 years, Brahma, he has to reward what all hard work is done. Brahma is like nature's law. The nature's law is that if you do hard work, he will give result. And whatever is the type of hard work, he will give in accordance with that. So depending on his hard work, he said, you are a Rajarshi now. Brahma comes, Jita Rajarshi lokaste tapasa kushikatmaja. Oh Kushikatmaja, oh my dear, say Vishwamitra, all the Rajarshi lokas, you have attained the status of this Rajarshi. Earlier he was a Raja only. Now he has become a Rajarshi by virtue of his tapas, etc. And he is not yet a Brahmarshi because that element of ego is still there. That element of ambition to defeat Vishwamitra is still there. That element of enmity is still there. So then Vishwamitra, of course, he feels bad. Vishwamitro, Vishwamitropi tachrutva hriya kinchid avangmukha. He felt ashamed. Avangmukha means he just bent his head down, with his head down, and then he does further tapas. And then right at that time, there is one obstacle comes in way. That is, right at that time, there was one king called Trishanku. That Trishanku is okay. He is a fairly okay, good king anyway. Etasminneva kale tu satyavadi jitendriyaha Trishankuriti vikhyataha Ikshvakukulavardhanaha. So this fellow was also a king from the same Ikshvaku clan. We saw that Ikshvaku clan, there are a lot many people ruling in several places from the same Ikshvaku clan. There was one king called Trishanku. So that gentleman, he was doing a particular yajna. He wanted to do a particular yajna. His ambition was to go to heaven with his own body. You see, going to heaven with his own body is not contemplated in Dharma. It is not contemplated in Shastra. That is, where a person does yajna, and then after that yajna, he gets some punyam in what is technically called apurvam. And then with that apurvam, when it fructifies and when this body falls, he has to go with a divya sharira. Divya sharira means his subtle body in a different divya sharira or a subtle body. It goes to say heaven. So that is what the Vedanta says, or what our scheme says. But then this man, he wants to go to heaven with the body. That is something which is an adharmic demand, something which is not a correct demand. And then Vishwamitra tries to take up that demand. How he takes up that demand? Because Trishanku initially goes to Vasishtha, and when once denied by Vasishtha, he comes to Vishwamitra. That we will see in the next episode. Harihi Om Tat Sat.